and welcome to the Beef Edge, the Teagasc Beef Podcast, for all your latest news, information and advice for Irish beef farmers. I'm Catherine Egan, and on this week's episode, I'm joined by Newford farm technician Michael Fagan to get an update and review of the performance of the herd in Athenry. I first asked Michael to recap on how breeding season went in Newford this year.
We started AIing on the 21st of April and we finished on the 30th of June. It was done over 10 weeks and we used 100% AI on all the cows. Now, with the aids of the tail painting, we brought in 2 teaser bulls, roughly around 350 kilos with chin ball harness on them, and the bulls cost $220 a kilo, and they were vasectomized and ready to go. This year, I suppose we did something new. We introduced 2 moo calves onto the farm. They cost €1,250 each. With the AI itself, we ate the cows each day at 12 o'clock, and we used the once a day rule. So that means if a cow was AI'd at 12 o'clock today, and if she was seen bulling again at night time around 9 or 10 o'clock, she was brought in the following morning again, and she was AI'd again at 12 o'clock. So we had 81 cows for breeding this year, and by using that once a day rule, 24-hour rule, we AI'd 19 cows twice out of the 81 cows with the 24-hour rule. So with all kind of Newford breeding systems, we were checking the cows 4 to 5 times daily. And as I said, we had 81 mature cows for breeding this year. We had 26 maiden heifers. So all in all, there was 107 animals on Newford herd for breeding this year. I suppose one thing to take into consideration too is Newford, we bought in 26 maiden heifers and we purchased them there in April. The average price of the little heifers coming in was 352 kilos, and we bought them in at €822. Now those heifers, we synchronized them because we had no teaser bull. So they were synchronized on the 13th of April and they coincide with our AI date in on the 21st of April. So out of the 26 heifers that came into us that time, unfortunately, one of them, our ladies' heifers got meningitis. So really, it was supposed to be only 25. So after the 6 weeks breeding period for those maiden heifers, we had 18 in calf. So 13 went in calf to the first service, and 4 went in calf to the second, and 1 to the third service. So we had 18 out of 25 with our maiden heifers in calf this year.
Michael, what sires were selected and how did you go about selecting those sires?
Yeah, once we use 5-star terminal index bulls, and we use the system on the ICBF system where we put in the criteria that we need for our cows. So we looked for less than 8% calving difficulty for the strong mature beef cows. Anything for the younger cows, we made sure that the calving difficulty was less than 5.8. But I suppose the key thing there is we made sure that our reliability was over 70% and the confirmation was over 2.25. And with the mature cows, we kind of looked for, we thought that they would have been well able to carry a 35 kilo predicted carcass weight. And for the young cows, we made sure that they had more than a 25% predicted carcass weight from the bulls. And the first calvers, they got Edendale Ivor, and he has an 80% reliability, and he has a calving difficulty of less than 5.8. So these are the criteria we used onto the ICBF system, where they have a number, maybe where they have a couple of hundred bulls, but when we put in that criteria into the system, we're just left with a small number portion of bulls, and those are the bulls that we used on. We made sure that our AI straws cost less than 18 euros. So when that criteria was put in, we ended up picking out 5 Charlies, and we used High Deal, Fiston, Dermalap Matt, Lapton, Knockmoy 10, and 3 limousine bulls, Mila Duff Lamborghini, Laurel and Gestad. And for this year we tried Belgian Blue Bulls, Gilmore Glee and Kilcolony Codaline. And the reason we were using them, I know Kilcolony Codaline we used last year and we found very useful, and they have a shorter gestation period for the Belgian Blue. So if you had a cow that was repeating maybe 2 or 3 times, we just maybe went back in with the blue to make sure that she went back in calf to save the gestation length.
A great selection of different breeds across the cows, Michael. And how did you select the sires for the replacement heifers?
Well, as I said there, we used Edendale Ivor. We made sure he had a calving difficulty of less than 5.8 with an 80% reliability and a more than 25 kilo of predicted carcass weight. So Edendale Ivor has been used a number of years on the farm, and we find him very successful on the heifers that they calve down without no hassle whatsoever.
That's great. And you mentioned this year is the first year that you've used the Moo Heat. What was your experience of it and how did it work?
Yeah, I suppose I was partially hesitation at first because here we were, I was relying on new technology taking over the breeding system on the farm. And this was really taking away the human interaction. And I have to say I was a bit hesitant, but it worked exceptionally well for us on the Newford. It picked up all the cows by sending us the text messages to our phones with the cows' numbers who was in heat. As I said earlier, the electric collar cost €1,250 per collar, which was put around the bull's neck, and all the cows, they were fitted with their individual electronic tag. And another big beauty of it was, if the bunch of cows had to come into the yard for any particular reason, there was a neutral tag in the yard which was stapled to the wall, and that used to kill off the bull's signal. So no matter how many times he brushed against the cows in the handling unit, there was no signals coming to our phones until they went back out to the field again, where the signals was opened up again. So it was an exceptionally useful tool there. So overall, it was very useful. I would highly recommend it to anyone who has difficulty in seeing their cows during the breeding season. It worked exceptionally well for us. I have nothing negative to say about it as of the moment.
And the scanning results, what have they shown this year?
Yeah, we did the scanning there on the 6th of September. As I said, we had a 10 weeks breeding. We used all AI, 100% AI. The 2 teaser bulls and the moo calves was part of the breeding. With the 81 cows was put for breeding this year, 76 cows were in calf. So in other words, we had 94% scanned in calf. So overall, between the maiden heifers and the cows, we'll have 94 cows calving down in February 2020. So just for out of the 76 cows that did go in calf, 46 cows held to the first service, 23 cows held to the second service, and 4 cows held to the third, and 3 cows held to the fourth service. We have no twins this year recorded, and I believe listening to the scanning man that was doing our scanning this year, he says twins is very rare this year, and I can only just presume maybe it's during the heat wave that time, but we have no twins to report this year on the herds so far at the moment. It wasn't scanned.
So great results, Michael. And you have weighed the cows and calves recently for the Beef Best scheme. What are the figures shown for the herd?
That's right. We did a weigh in there on the 28th of July. So the average weight for our 81 cows there in the yard at the moment is 618 kilos. And we condition scored them as well. They were 2.6 of a body condition score. I suppose that is something that I would be really like our cows keeping around the 620, 630. It's plenty big for our type of a herd of a cow that we want here in the west of Ireland. The weights range from the second calvers, they range from 542 up to the heavier cows around 680. But overall, the average weight for the herd was 620. And that is something that we should be really consistent to keep the herd at. And maybe what we need to be doing is maybe just to improve the conformation of our cow. And that is done by buying in good conformation type heifers, but keeping the weight of the cows around 620, 630.
And what have the calves achieved over that period?
Yeah, the little calves, they were also weighed on the 28th of July, as you said, for the beef scheme. We have 43 little male calves down in the yard. And on the 28th of July, the male calves weighed 261 kilos. So their average daily gain from birth to the 28th of July is 1.44 of a kilo per day, which is exceptionally well. That's as good as any other year that we have done them on. And the heifers, we have 42 heifers this year. Their average birth weight was 36 kilos at birth. They weighed 248 kilos, and their average daily gain from birth to the 28th of July is 1.34 of a kilo per day. So with the selection of the limousines and the Charlie heifers and the Charlie bulls that was used, we have a good average daily gains from both the males and the female calves.
Most definitely, Michael. And last year's stock, in relation to the bullocks, how have they performed?
The bullocks are doing well this year now, in fairness. The 2020, they were born in 2020, obviously. They went to grass on the 2nd of March at 433 kilos. Now, they had been housed for 123 days. They went in the 30th of October 2020, housed for 123 days, and they did 0.63 of a kilo over the winter period. As I said, they went to grass on the 2nd of March at 433 kilos. They're in an outside farm at the moment. So they were weighed on the 17th of June, and on the 17th of June, they were almost 510 kilos. And they were average daily gain from birth up to that 17th of June was 0.98 of a kilo per day. Now, what we are going to do with our bullocks is we'd have brought home 12 bullocks from the outside farm. Them 12 strong bullocks are being fed fed meals at the moment, 4 kilos of grass of concentrates. Their average weight is 622 kilos on the 7th of September. So their average daily gain from birth is 1.02 kilos per day. So they've done exceptionally well. And they've from turnout to the 7th of September, they've done 0.84 of a kilo. So there are 188 days of grass as of the moment. As I said, we have trots laid there in one of the inside yards. So we bring up the 12 bullocks and they're fed there to avoid any poaching in the fields. So they come in very easily every morning. They open the gate to run up the laneway and they eat the ration and to go back out. Our ration is costing us €305 per tonne this year. It's all in bags, just for handiness sake at the moment. So that's working out at €7.63 per bag delivered. And I suppose compare that to last year, we're paying €37 more this year for our meal compared to last year. We have 26 bullocks to be finished and they're still outside and they'll be getting no meals and they will eventually come in probably the early October, depending on the weather. The 12 bullocks that has been fed at the moment, they're on 12% ration. I should have said earlier, on 12% protein ration, which is made up 26% rolled barley, 21% flake maize and 21% grounded maize. I would be hoping, or I'd be planning to maybe them 12 bullocks to be sold in around the end of September, early October, aiming around 650 kilos of live weight going up the ramp of the lorry. And as for our heifers, they went to grass on the 27th of February at 411 kilos. And like the bullocks, they were housed for 118 days and they did 0.52 over the winter period. So they had a good weight gain going out at 411 kilos. We weighed them there on the 21st of July and there were 505 kilos. There was 56 heifers in that in total. So the average daily gain from birth to the 21st of July for those heifers was 0.9 of a kilo. Now, their average daily gain from February to the 21st of July was 0.66. And I know I would have preferred if they'd done a little bit better, but if you remember, the weather wasn't so hot that time around April. It was fairly wet and mucky. So I would just presume that was a small knockoff on their weight gain there. Now, what we have done is we decided to, I suppose, touch the water with 5 heifers. So we sold 5 heifers, inspect heifers, on the 6th of August to the factory. Their average live weight gain was 510 kilos, and they had a carcass weight of 276. They graded out R equals and 3 minus, and their average kill out was 54%. Now, the R equals 3 minus, out of the 5 of them, we had 2 of them at R equals 2 plus, one was R plus 3 minus, another was R plus 2 plus, and an R minus 3 equals. And the average price for the heifers was €1,282.73. That's what they came into per animal. The average price we got for them was €4.64. I suppose if you compare that with last year we got €3.97 for all the heifers that were sold last year. So this year, the difference of last year's price and what we got there in August was €186 more. And those little heifers were gone at 18 months of age, or 543 days, and they're all Fiston heifers. So I know I would have preferred, or equal is fine, I would have liked a little bit more of a fat cover on them. But on hindsight, they were all in spec. We got the base price, we got the Borbia price and the payment grade as well. And we're gone at 18 months at R equals 3 minus at almost €1,300, as I said, and our average price per kilo was €4.64. So I suppose that made us think then, at the moment we have 42 other heifers and we weighed them on the 15th of September, they're comrades. And the average weight of those heifers that's left is 576 kilos and they're at 19 months of age. And those particular heifers now, they have done 0.93 of a kilo of average daily gain from birth. And they're on 4 kilos of meal. And we started meal with them on the 26th of July. I suppose the key point there, I should have mentioned there, is the 5 inspect heifers that we sold on the 6th of August, they were just getting meal for about a week. So that's all the meal that they would consume. But the other heifers, they're on meal since the 26th of July, they're on 4 kilos. And over the last 56 days, they've been doing 1.3 of a kilo. So those heifers, as I said, are only 19 months of age, and the top heifers range from 646 kilos down to 485 kilos. And it would be fair to say that from the top 22 heifers averaged almost 610 kilos. And we'll probably be drafting those in the coming days, a large portion of those 22. And the farm will be aiming for probably a 54% kill out, since they're getting the 4 kilos of meal, and we'll be targeting a carcass weight of in around 328 kilos at 19 months. That is the plan of the heifers. And then we have 10 lighter heifers. They'll probably end up coming in. They're getting no meals at the moment. They'll probably end up coming in around 5th or 6th of October, and we'll finish them off inside the sheds around mid to late November.
Michael, what's the main focus on the farm in the coming weeks?
Yes, but the key thing now is the weaning. We started weaning there. We weaned the heifer calves there on Monday. We brought in the 2 bunches. We separate them. We weighed the cows and weighed the calves. The little heifer calves were weighed in at 300 kilos at an average daily gain of 1.28 up to weaning. So what we did is when weaning was done, the cows were brought over to one side of the shed and the calves were put the other side. There's just a gate between them, so the calves can see their mother and smell the mothers, but they cannot suck them. We're giving them a small bit of concentrate there as well in the shed. And 2 days later then, which was yesterday, we let the heifer calves back into mothers for their last supper, for the final suck out. And then they were separated once again, and the heifer calves were brought over to a shed about roughly 150 yards away from the cows, so they just can't see them anymore. The cows went back into their slats. They're on straw at the moment, a small bit of silage. It's mainly probably 70% straw, 30% silage, just to keep them dried up. And the little heifer calves, they'll go back to grass probably next Monday or Tuesday, and the cows will go back to one of the outside farms one of the days next week, probably Tuesday as well. So that's our weaning, and the little bull calves, then the male calves, they'll come in probably next Monday or Tuesday as well, and we'll do the same preparation then again. So that is our weaning, and we did a good video on that last year on Newford Farm. If anyone wants to go back to see the way was done on Newford weaning in 2020. I suppose the big thing coming into us now, Catherine, is building covers. And I suppose for us this year, we have a lot of grass this year, probably more than I would have preferred to have around at the moment, because with July and August being so good, grass growth was very good. So our biggest job is, if the weather plays ball with us, we will have plenty of grass around at the moment. But should the weather break, we will probably run some difficulty, and we'll make the decisions as we go along. Then I don't know if it ends up, maybe if the weather broke the end of September and we got 2 or 3 bad weeks and had to come in, we would have to consider maybe turn cows back out in November to graze off really, really heavy covers if it did come dry. But building covers at the moment is not an issue at the moment. And I suppose what has brought on the covers too is just by feeding the heifers and the bullocks there at grass, they're eating less grass at the moment. I suppose one of the key things I'll be doing next week is testing silage. I'll be getting the silage core, and I'll get the round bales tested, and the silage bit. I've been in contact with Hillsborough there, and it's €30, I believe, to get silage test sample done for testing this year. Our little calves this year, what we've done for vaccination is all our calves, we give them Bolivis intranasal RSV live up the nose. And we did that there just before weaning there in August to set them up so they'll have no pneumonia when we do have them weaned. They'll get the IBR booster in October, and then after that, then we'll let them come into the shed and they'll settle down, and we might do fecal samples, and depending on that, then we'll see what sort of liver fluke and stomach worms they have, and we'll make the decisions there when I talk to my vet. And they will be obviously treated for lice then when they come in October. I suppose the big key thing is we normally get to keep the weanings out until about the 9th or 10th of November, and to keep things stress-free and pneumonia, I do always make sure when they are coming into the shed that they come in bone dry. If there's no rain, no mist, we will just sit it out as long as we can if possible to make sure that when they come in that they're absolutely dry, and it just kind of eliminates any steam from pneumonia rising from them. And big open airy sheds too as well, so they won't be getting stressed out.
That's great, Michael. Thanks very much for the update on the Newford herd.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's all for this week's episode, and my thanks to Michael for joining me on the show. You can catch up on all other shows and interviews from the Beef Edge podcast on the Teagasc website at teagasc.ie, or you can listen on Apple and Google Podcasts as well as Spotify. Don't forget to rate, review and subscribe so you never miss a show. For all other updates from our beef programme, keep an eye on our Twitter and Facebook pages. Until next time, I'm Catherine Egan, and thanks for listening.